This terrifying story is a true experience from Mr. Tree, a high school teacher who encountered a horror beyond imagination and shared it with us. When we speak of the New Year festival, many think of celebrations, travel, and relaxation. But for Mr. Tree and his girlfriend, a New Year's trip about 5 years ago became a black memory they would never forget. It was a journey that began with forgetfulness and ended with a haunting that ate away at their hearts every mile of the way. The story began when Mr. Tree planned a road trip to experience the cold weather in Northern Thailand. The plan was loose: drive, stop wherever they felt like, and soak in the atmosphere. Confident in his driving skills and his ability to book hotels on the fly, everything seemed smooth until they reached their first stop in Phetchabun province. This hotel was a place Mr. Tree was familiar with. He had stayed there many times and liked the vibe. But this time was different. The left wing zone, where he usually stayed, was fully booked. He was forced to take a room in the right wing, a zone he always tried to avoid because it was next to a noisy swimming pool. But having no choice, he accepted the key. The moment he stepped onto the stairs leading to the second floor, his eyes clashed with a massive portrait hanging in the stairwell. It was a portrait of a man with a stern face, his eyes staring straight ahead as if watching everyone who walked by. The unusually large size of the picture and its looming position created an indescribable pressure. It felt like the eyes of the owner were following his back. To make matters worse, the room Mr. Tree got was right next to that portrait. When he opened the door, the atmosphere inside was gloomy. The furniture was arranged strangely, especially a large wardrobe that seemed to block the path. As soon as Mr. Tree opened the wardrobe to hang his clothes, a smell of dampness mixed with a foul, rotting stench blasted out, hitting his nose violently. The smell was so strong it made him dizzy. He decided to shut the wardrobe tight and leave his clothes outside instead. That night, even though his body was exhausted from driving, Mr. Tree slept fitfully, consumed by paranoia. In the dead of night, a sound, creak, broke the silence. The wardrobe door he had shut tight was slowly creaking open by itself, revealing the darkness inside. Was it empty? Or was something hiding in there? Being a man who carried spiritual protection, Mr. Tree took out his amulet of Tao Wesu Wan and hung it in front of the wardrobe to suppress the evil. They survived the first night without violence, but the consequences fell on his girlfriend. The next morning, she woke up covered in angry red hives. It was a mysterious allergic reaction, so severe they had to rush to the hospital, throwing their travel schedule into chaos. By the time they finished at the hospital, it was already late afternoon. Determined to reach their next destination, Mr. Tree decided to drive straight through the night. Little did he know, deciding to drive on an unfamiliar route in the dark was like stepping into the twilight zone. As darkness covered the land, the main road became empty. The GPS, supposedly smart, directed him onto a shortcut, a desolate road flanked only by dense forest and houses spaced miles apart. There were almost no streetlights, only his headlights cutting through the rough gravel road. Along this road of death, Mr. Tree began to see strange things. On the roadside, there were people squatting in the dark. Some stood still with slumped shoulders, turning their faces to look at his car with empty eyes. In the middle of a remote forest like this, no human would be standing out in the cold dew at midnight. Mr. Tree knew what he was seeing weren't people, but he forced himself to stay calm. Don't greet them. Don't look. Just drive. And then, the peak of the horror arrived. Rounding a curve, his headlights illuminated a motorcycle that looked like it had just crashed. The helmet was shattered, pieces scattered across the road, with blood splattered everywhere. His girlfriend woke up just in time to see it and screamed for him to watch out. But Mr. Tree told her to be quiet and drove past without stopping. But the story didn't end there. When Mr. Tree glanced at his right side mirror, he saw the headlight of a motorcycle chasing them at high speed. The roar of the engine got closer and closer until it pulled up right next to his car. When he turned to look, the rider was wearing the same clothes as the crash victim. The helmet was smashed, revealing a twisted head and a face mashed with blood. His body was covered in deep gashes, yet he was still twisting the throttle, keeping pace with the car at nearly 60 miles per hour. The one remaining eye of the spirit stared intensely into the car, looking at Mr. Tree and his girlfriend with malice. Or perhaps he was screaming for help in his agony. Mr. Tree gathered every ounce of focus he had, chanting a prayer of mercy in his mind, apologizing if he had offended the spirit, and wishing it peace. As if by a miracle, the figure slowly decelerated and faded into the darkness, leaving only terror gripping their hearts. After surviving the near-death encounter, they finally arrived at their destination in a northern province. It was nearly 1 a.m. Exhausted to the limit, Mr. Tree rushed to check in at the resort he had booked. But then, a massive mistake revealed itself. The receptionist informed him, "Sir, your booking is for tomorrow. Tonight, we are fully booked. ... The truth hit him hard. He had messed up the dates. Now, he was standing in the middle of the night in a tourist town with no vacancies. His girlfriend was sick, and they were both traumatized from the ghosts on the road. Sleeping in the car was too risky. He begged the staff to find any room, no matter the condition. Two staff members whispered to each other hesitantly before saying, "There is one room. Let us show you." The room was a standalone two-story house, isolated from the other zones. The atmosphere was eerily quiet. Usually, houses like this would have cars parked in front, but this one was empty. The staff led them to the second floor, accessible by a staircase that went straight up from the ground, bypassing the first floor. The room upstairs looked normal and cool. Exhausted, Mr. Tree and his girlfriend threw their bags down, hoping to finally rest. But peace lasted only a moment. After his girlfriend fell asleep from her medicine, Mr. Tree was sitting up, planning the next day's trip. Suddenly, loud noises erupted from the first floor. Scrape, scrape, boom. It sounded like heavy wooden tables and chairs being dragged across a concrete floor. The noise was deafening, followed by the sound of many people chatting and laughing, as if a lively party was happening downstairs. But the staff had said no one was staying there. The noise was unbearable. Mr. Tree called the lobby to complain. A moment later, two male staff members arrived on a golf cart. Mr. Tree leaned over the balcony to watch. The staff shined flashlights into the first floor and shouted back up, "Sir, you must be hearing things. There is no one downstairs. The door is padlocked and chained tight." Mr. Tree went cold. He peered down into the beam of the flashlight and saw it was true. The folding doors of the first floor were secured with a thick, rusty chain and a heavy padlock, proving they hadn't been opened in years. So, where did the sound of dragging tables come from? The staff drove away, leaving Mr. Tree to face the reality alone. As soon as the golf cart vanished, the sound, scrape, scrape, started again. This time it was louder, mocking him, challenging him. The indecipherable chatter roared up again. The party of the spirits had begun. In that second, Mr. Tree had to decide. Run out now? To where? Sleep in the car and face the things from the road? The only choice was to endure. He forced his eyes shut, listening to the haunting sounds from beneath the floorboards. All night long, the marathon of terror lasted until the first light of dawn touched the horizon. Only then did silence return. The next morning, Mr. Tree checked out immediately. This time, he met a senior receptionist. When he told her about the noise and asked to change rooms, she looked shocked and blurted out, "Normally, we do not open that room for guests." That sentence confirmed everything. That house was closed off for a reason. Perhaps it had a history. Or perhaps it was the residence of the guardian spirits that the resort kept aside. But due to a mistake by the night shift or a cruel twist of fate, Mr. Tree had slept in their territory. On the way back, Mr. Tree decided to drive straight back to Bangkok without stopping. While navigating a winding downhill road, his girlfriend, who had been silent, suddenly spoke up. "Tree, don't brake, just drive." Mr. Tree looked ahead and saw only an empty road. But his girlfriend saw an old woman leading a grandchild, walking to cut across the car's path. However, as the car got closer, what Mr. Tree saw in a split second were two pairs of legs. Just legs with no bodies attached, walking slowly across the road.